just buy $10 or $100. If you know nothing about crypto, buy like $10 or $100, an amount to you which you don't care if you lose. The market is trending upwards. If you look at the past few years, we've gone from a few dollars to up to nearly $70,000.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of the podcast. Today's guest, crypto. Let's talk crypto. You know why? Because it's on the kind of tip of our tongues a lot of the time. It's moving really quickly. Is it gambling? Is it asset allocation? What are NFTs? We're going into this whole world of digital where a lot of people don't understand it. They're very skeptical. But I want to try and give you as much education around this as possible so you can make better decisions when it comes to thinking about what digital assets you potentially buy. My guest on the show today is otherwise known as Crypto Jack. He's a pilot that turned YouTuber that creates videos about crypto and generating wealth. His educational videos have amassed over 200,000 followers on his YouTube channel, which have seen him sharing the best practices for new investors, tutorials for beginner crypto enthusiasts, tips for buying and trading coins, and how you can earn money using NFTs. He has a gift for educating his viewers on pretty complex topics. So listen up, because he's with me here in Dubai today and we're going to get stuck into the topic, and I'm certain we'll have a lot to learn from him. Please welcome to the show the awesome Jack Skip. Cue the music. Okay, so let's talk about these sponsors, all right? First of all, SmartCast. Have you ever heard about them? Maybe not, but they are solving the problem of food security. We are having a population that's increasing to grow over the years, and as it grows, there's less and less land able to be farmed to provide the food that's needed. SmartCast use modern food technology and security to bypass the traditional structures, and by doing so, enable smart farming to take place. Please go and check them out. On top of that, I'm delighted to welcome Arabian Business as partners to the podcast, and Arabian Business is the biggest business publication here in the Middle East. So if you're watching this or listening to this now through that channel, the partnership has started. So thanks Arabian Business and all the guys at ITP. And lastly, to Najahi Events, an event organizer that's run by a lady called Alpha Mustafa, who's become a really good friend of mine over the years. She brings hugely talented motivational speakers into the Middle East to inspire, educate, and teach us all really how we can be better at living our lives and building our businesses. So go check each one of those out. I'd really appreciate it. Right. Let's talk about crypto.
Nice.
Okay. Crypto Jack's your social media name.
Yep.
Jack, thanks for coming to join me today.
No problem.
We have spent 6 or 7 episodes of this podcast really trying to dig deep and understand the world of crypto.
Yep.
Robert Breedlove, Raoul Paul, and to name a few. We had the founder of Ethereum on the show as well, because we really wanted people to get a better education and understand what's going on, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. So I'm just going to imagine, okay, that you were born, you went to school, you got an education, and you learned about crypto when you were 11 years old, and your whole life has been about crypto. Or am I wrong? Did you do something else first?
No, actually, before I started crypto, I was a pilot. I was doing my training to become a pilot, and basically I had to save up some money to pay for the next portion of my training. I created a business which I then was lucky enough to sell. And I sold it for not a crazy amount, around $20,000. And I put all of this into Bitcoin. Maybe it wasn't the smartest idea, but it worked out pretty well. Bitcoin was around $1,500. I put everything into Bitcoin, and from there, I just kind of jumped into the rabbit hole of Bitcoin and crypto on the forums and YouTube videos, and just completely engulfed my life into it from then, 2017.
So 2017 is when you got in?
Yep.
Okay, and before in that lead-up period, what had you learnt about crypto, and particularly Bitcoin? Had you been a real student, or were you somebody that had heard somebody else say?
Well, funny story, actually, it was my dad who told me to get into crypto.
Never?
Yeah,
really?
My dad, yeah.
What does your dad do?
He's a pilot as well. He's retired now, but he was a pilot. So I wanted to kind of follow in his footsteps. I always enjoyed cars, aviation, stuff like that. So I wanted to follow in his footsteps. But throughout his life, he's been investing in different things, always investing in new opportunities. And he invested in Bitcoin probably maybe 6 months or so before I did. So I just sold my business. It was a drop shipping business. I sold it. I had $20,000 and it was just sitting there, and I needed to kind of do something with it. So he was talking to me about Bitcoin. He said he bought a few Bitcoin, and it was really interesting. So I said, okay, let me do some research. I just looked at it for maybe half a day and thought, sod it, I'm putting it all in. And then it went from there.
And so what platform did you use?
This is years ago. I think it must have been like Coinbase or Bittrex. I think it was Bittrex.
But did Bittrex close?
No, Bittrex is still open.
Bittrex is still open. Oh yeah, Bittrex.
Or maybe Bitfinex. I get confused, but it was one of these, Bittrex or Bitfinex.
Okay, so you're sitting there. Okay, so how old were you in 2017?
This was around 5 years ago, so I was like 23.
So 23 years old. Okay, so we're kind of like bigger risk takers when we.
Yeah, of course, you've got less to lose.
Takers. But 20,000 is all you've got to your name. So
everything.
So you're all in on red or black.
I put everything in crypto, and I couldn't even afford to eat. I had to just have meals at home and stuff because I put everything in, every cent. So I just thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it all in. Maybe it's not that. Looking back, I probably wouldn't have done it again, and I wouldn't advise people to do that now. Definitely not, because always with the good sides, there's also a bad side. Like one person wins, another person loses, kind of thing. So maybe I did it like this and it worked out, but if someone else were to try it, maybe it wouldn't.
Okay, but that's essentially putting all of your savings into something is
reckless.
A gamble. Well, you say reckless.
Yeah.
Again, it worked out for you. So you can, had you lost everything, it's reckless.
Yeah, of course.
Had you made a lot of money, then you're divine.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So you've put all this money in. Where I come from, that would mean you're exposed, really exposed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So the old sphincter muscle
definitely.
was going.
And this was like my first ever investment. I didn't have any like stocks or any, literally crypto was my first ever, I wouldn't even call it traditional investment because it's not traditional, just investment in general. So, I mean, I was extremely naive at the time, but still it worked.
Okay, so you put it in there and you just left it in there and you never took it out?
I just left it in there, yeah. It was around around about 10 Bitcoin, something maybe 12 or 13, something around that range. And I just left it in there for a good few months. And then I thought, hey, this is really cool. And I really liked watching people on YouTube talk about it. So that's where I got the idea for my dad as well told me to make a YouTube channel. So I owe a lot of what I have to him. So yeah.
That is so unusual to hear a story of the young guy having the old guy.
Because the funny thing is, he paid for all my flight training. So then he told me to make a YouTube channel, which kind of goes against what he paid for my training for. So, but yeah, I'm very thankful.
I love your dad, man. How old is your dad?
62, I think.
Okay, so he's relatively young. So your dad's 62.
I actually retired him like 3 months ago. So
you retired him?
Yeah, he was a pilot for Fly Dubai, Emirates in Dubai. Okay. And it was getting like really stressful, night flights. So I said, I'll just give you your salary and pay your rent and everything, and you can just stay at home and enjoy life. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah, because I have most of what I have now because of him. So
that's a really nice thing to do. So tell me, did you buy those coins, hold those coins, never sell those coins, or did you sell them at some point thinking, well, they've really gone high, I better get out now?
So what I did is basically, when I created my YouTube channel, most of my income then was in crypto. Like, I didn't make any money for the first 6, 7, 8 months, but then when I did, it was all in crypto. So I was kind of getting crypto as a salary or income from my business. So I didn't specifically sell those 10 or 12 coins, but I did change some of them for like Ethereum and XRP and other things like this back in the day. So I didn't sell them, I just swapped some of them. But those like 10 original coins, I still have them. I'm not going to sell them.
That's really interesting. So how did you make money out of your YouTube channel?
First of all, it was ad revenue, then it was sponsorships, it was affiliates, and I also have a crypto course as well. So there's many, many different revenue streams.
So you teach people to buy and invest in crypto?
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got people here. We've got Claire here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Claire's a novice.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't really know much about it. Okay, Alex he buys and sells land on the metaverse, so we'll probably have more of an intelligent conversation with you. Okay, you've got me, that's probably in between the both. I buy a bit. Okay, I've got some money there. I don't know what I'm doing. I get excited by different people's stories. I get excited by people that have been around the block and have been involved in the crypto space for a while, sitting on my podcast saying, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Yeah.
You're mad if you don't do this. So it becomes rather compelling when I sit and listen to them.
Of course.
If I was a young man now and I was sitting there and I've got some money, I've sold a house, I've got 50 grand in the bank, and I'm 25 years old and I'm really interested in the whole world of digital, and I know that's been around a while and NFTs have become part of the conversation and I really don't understand it. If I invested all of my money into NFTs or crypto, am I totally speculating right now?
At this point, I wouldn't do it, just because although in my case scenario it worked out very well, looking back it was not a smart thing. What I tell new people in crypto, like anyone here or anyone watching, is just buy $10 or $100. If you know nothing about crypto, buy like $10 or $100, an amount to you which you don't care if you lose. And this kind of brings you into the ecosystem and lets you experience like how you buy it, how you sell it, what it looks like in your wallet, what different wallets you can have, and you can learn a lot more by just doing it than watching or reading about it. So that's what I say, just $10 or $100, and if you like it, if you get a kind of grip to it, okay, cool, you can dive like deep into it. If you don't like it, if it's not for you, then it doesn't matter. Maybe you've just lost $50 or $100. But that's what I would first start by doing. And also NFTs. You can buy NFTs. You don't have to buy a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can just buy any NFT on OpenSea. Maybe it's for $100 or something like that. Just so you can see the process of buying it and seeing it in your wallet. You can then put it on your Apple Watch if you want, or cool things like this, so you can understand the kind of the hype and the craze around NFTs and crypto, and just it gives you a much more deeper understanding. And I almost guarantee that once people put a little bit of money in, they're going to want to put a lot more in. I wouldn't necessarily put a big chunk of money in. For example, if you had £50,000 or dollars, I wouldn't just put it all in. The safest and the smartest thing to do, first of all, is if this is all of your net worth, I wouldn't put it all in. I would allocate like a percentage of it, because you don't want to be too overexposed. And also you want to make sure you have money to pay your rent and bills and stuff like that. But I would like dollar cost average in. So whether it be you put £1,000 or £2,000 in a week, a month, a year, whatever it is for your budget, that's what I recommend doing. So pretty much everyone in crypto is in the understanding that the market is trending upwards. If you look at the past few years, we've gone from a few dollars to up to nearly $70,000. So the overall trend is upwards. So it doesn't really matter if you buy Bitcoin at 38,000 or 42,000 or 63,000. If the long-term trend is upwards and you're buying on an average, you're just buying like average points on the way up. So that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
I was at an event in Abu Dhabi where I was hosting, where I met you.
At the F1, yeah.
At the F1. And you, I don't know the names of everybody else. I know Da Vinci, and there was four of you. Yeah, the German, is he German guy?
Yeah, Crypto, Chris. Okay.
Yeah. So there's the group of you there, and you're on stage, and you're talking about, and this was when I think it was sitting around the 55,000 mark, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, and you were talking about where Bitcoin's going to be valued in the future in 2025. Can you remember what price you said it'd be at 2025?
Oh, 25. I would have said hundreds of thousands of dollars, most likely. I would say maybe $200,000 or $300,000 at least, probably. I said.
Okay, you said all of you said between 250 and 500,000.
Yeah, I agree by that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And so when you hear that, what you have to remember is that, and okay, that was a different type of audience, but when the average man on the street hears that, I believe there's three things in the world that people, if you sell this to them, they want.
Yep.
Okay, and if you sell any of these three things, for sure you'll make a living. Okay, number one, okay, how to get 1 million followers overnight. All right, everyone wants significance.
Of course.
All right. Number two, how to lose weight fast. How I can lose 10 kilos in the next week. All right. If you've got a solution for that, I'm in.
Oh yeah, I need it too.
And also how to get rich quick.
Yep.
So if you're selling any of those three things, there's always going to be an audience that want to buy because those three things matter.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Okay. So when you see the rise of cryptocurrencies over the course of the last 7 or 8 years. You see the rise of these prices that have been, they've smashed the stock market to bits. Everything else that competes, they've been blown into oblivion when you look at the numbers. And then you have guys like you that stand up on stage and say, yeah, by 2025, maybe 250, 500, that would be our guess. Okay. And I'm not saying you're predicting it. Yeah. That would be our guess. But it doesn't matter whether it's your guess or whether you're predicting it actually, because if you're in that space, okay, people are like, well, he's wearing the nice clothes. He's driving a nice car. So maybe if he's doing that, maybe he knows what he's talking about. Because everybody wants to get rich quick, people have looked into this. And I'm going to say NFTs now as well. NFTs, people are sitting there getting involved to get rich quick.
Of course, yeah.
It's scary.
Oh, yeah.
Because there will be people that lose money.
Of course, when there's winners, there's losers.
Yeah, but there'll be people that lose their shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? You talk about investing on a monthly, quarterly basis, a dollar cost average or unit cost averaging, we call it, which I think is really sound advice. But if I don't know what to invest in, okay, where do I start? How many coins are there?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands.
Probably, I would guess more than 10,000 even off the top of my head. But there's probably only like less than 1,000 that have like real significance. Okay. Because you could make a coin in 5 minutes and put it out there, less than 5 minutes.
So I can make a Spencer coin?
Yeah, in 5 minutes. There's websites that you just put in the amount of coins you want, the price, and you click generate and it makes it.
Crazy. Okay.
But it doesn't mean that coin has value because it's only worth what someone will pay you for it.
And people talk a lot about NFTs, they talk about utility. Stop looking at the piece of art, start thinking about the utility behind it. And I think with coins it's the same, isn't it? Apart from Bitcoin, it's like with Ethereum, there's utility.
Bitcoin's like the grandfather.
Yeah, but it's the only one that doesn't have a utility.
I guess so. Decentralized and kind of untouchable, I guess you could say, is kind of one of the utilities, the main
Desirable, but not a utility. Whereas, when you make a comparison to Ethereum, it's like Ethereum has this thing behind it that's got some substance.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, what do people do? Do they just go with the top three and just spread their assets across the top three? Okay. Because there's a guy that follows me online, and he's massively into Phantom.
Yep.
All right. He lives here in Dubai, banging on about Phantom. Always with Pierre Gasly, the Formula One driver, because he's now sponsored by Phantom. You need to get Phantom. Well, Phantom, for most people, is just one of so many.
Oh, yeah.
And it can become overwhelming.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
We had Doge and then we had Shibu, and I had somebody shouting at me, you need to buy Shibu. This was some time ago.
Yeah, of course.
And
it's because there's so much money. So whenever there's one like Ethereum, there's Solana, there's Cardano, there's like Phantom, there's these other ones. When there's like Shiba Inu, there's Dogecoin, there's Shiba Floki Inu, like there's hundreds.
Pancake swap.
They all want a slice of the pie. That's I'm not saying they're all of them are bad, but of course there's only going to be in the next like 10 years. There's only going to be a set few of them that will in fact survive, and probably I would say like 80 or 90% of these coins out there will fail. Like long term, they just has to. It's just not possible. So identifying the right ones is actually very difficult. I always say start with a bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're your main two ones. Once you've understood those and put a little bit of money into them, then you can start looking to other ones. But if it's kind of outside the top 20 or 50 now, it could be considered a lot more risky. But that's where you can have the real kind of gains. That's where you can have, for example, I have friends that purchase Solana at just a couple of dollars, like $2-3, and they experienced huge thousands of % gains. But Solana was only like a top 300-400 coin. So now when you go onto CoinMarketCap and see all the coins, if you go to like the 3rd, 4th, 5th page and you see hundreds of coins, how do you know which one to buy? Well, you don't. You got to do all your research. You got to look at the team. It's a long process. You can't just randomly choose one to buy. If you randomly choose one in the top 10 to buy, probably you'll do okay in the next 5 to 10 years. However, if you want like the thousands of % gains, you've got to do a lot of research. And that's why so many people watch YouTube videos, because they don't have the time to do the research. They're working 9-to-5 jobs. Of course, it's not the best thing to take advice from someone on the internet sat in their bedroom making a video. But if they can kind of narrow down like 5 or 10 coins that they like, you can then look into them yourself and choose one that's right for you. So I never recommend buying anything unless you know what it is, you've done your research, and you kind of understand the fundamentals and stuff behind it. I say this, I buy stuff that I don't know about. I have friends, a lot of friends in the industry, and they say like, oh, I'm buying this. So sometimes I just buy it, I don't research it. However, I'm at the stage now where if I lose that money I invested, it's not the end of the world for me. So the risk is smaller than maybe someone watching at home. So that's what I would say. Start with a bit of Bitcoin, a bit of Ethereum, and then do your research on the other ones, maybe research on YouTube or articles or forums, and get yourself engrossed in the
If I had to sit and select stocks to invest in, it's the same principle.
Of course, yeah.
Go
You
and learn
got
about
Amazon
the
and
company.
your Google and stuff like that, which are probably safe long term. However, I don't know, penny stocks or whatever it may be, these are much riskier. It's similar.
Do you think that regulation of cryptocurrencies is going to stunt the potential?
I don't think it's going to stunt it because we've seen, like in El Salvador, they made Bitcoin legal.
Yeah.
In Ukraine, they made Bitcoin legal tender. And this stuff is, in my opinion, it's helping. When we see like America and stuff like that put out bad news and bad press conferences about Bitcoin and stuff, or crypto in general, yes, it makes the market go down in the short term. But I think long term, it's not going to matter because, in my opinion, crypto is here to stay, whether the governments like it or not. Bitcoin is created to circumvent these government restrictions. Like, I can send money to somebody in Africa without knowing them, without having to have a bank transfer for 3 or 4 days, without it being approved with Western Union. I can send it A to B without any questions, completely decentralized, like peer-to-peer, without any questions. And that's why Bitcoin was created, to stop this kind of centralization of the banks and the money, just the government printing money like crazy and causing mass inflation. So I think regulation in the long term will be good, in my opinion. Actually, I'm on a board of 10 different people, and we're working with the Dubai government to kind of help shape the law of crypto, which is really cool.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Getting the opportunity to shape a law, it makes me think about that time where I saw Mark Zuckerberg being interviewed in front of the law courts. I can't remember how it was, but they said to him, "Would you be happy sharing the name of the hotel that you're staying in at the moment?" And he said, "Well, no, I wouldn't." And what they were trying to do was trying to say, "Yeah, but the apps are able to follow and track everyone where they are, so why can't we know where you are?" type of thing.
That's true, yeah.
And basically these 60-year-old people didn't understand, the politicians, they didn't understand how the internet really worked, how social media really worked.
It's like taxis with Ubers. Of course, taxi drivers don't like Uber drivers. Of course they don't. It's just the same with banks and crypto. Of course, banking doesn't like crypto. But recently, I think just this week, HSBC was seen to purchase some land in the metaverse. So whether they like it or not, they're going to have to adopt it or just get left in the past.
Okay. You just said it before I asked the question, okay? What the F is the metaverse?
I'm not like so deep in the metaverse. I know a little bit about it, but I'm sure there's many people that can just tell you even more about it. But it's basically just an online like community, basically that you can hang out in. You can also own land in there as well. It's just like it's almost in an extremely basic term, like a video game, but it's real life in that kind of sense. So, I mean, it's been going absolutely crazy over the last few years, and I think it's at such a small stage, and so many people are buying land in the metaverse and kind of. I have one friend of a friend he bought a plot of land in the metaverse for a few $1,000s years ago, and now he's renting it out to Nike for around $60,000 to $70,000 per month, which is insane. So there is 100% traction there, 100%.
It just and then the Web 3.0. Do you understand what that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's all very kind of early stages, but I think it's going to be the future. Of course, we have Web 2.0, and I think it's just natural that we move to Web 3.0. And of course, it's going to take time. We're not there yet, I don't think, but probably in the next 5 years or so, we're going to see a lot more kind of growth into it.
How much time do you spend studying and researching every day, every week? How much is allocated to mastering your knowledge?
As of now, in the last kind of few months, I haven't spent so much, but in the past, especially during the pandemic and stuff, I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos and kind of researching about different things because there was not so much to do. We were all locked down and stuff, so this was actually a very useful time. But over the past few months, I'm just so busy. I don't have time in my day. So a lot of new things come out in crypto, and I don't know about them as soon as maybe someone sitting at home that can research this stuff all day. I'm just so busy with all day meetings and stuff like that. I'm sure you know that, but I really try to watch the most amount of content I can on YouTube about this stuff because it's such a quick, easy way to understand it without having to, with someone that already understands it, you can just immediately type in what is the metaverse or how to buy land in the metaverse and just immediately have the same knowledge as that person that's maybe been researching it for months and months. So in my opinion, that's the best way to do it. And when I do research these kind of topics, that's the way I do it.
And do you have your favorite people that you go to learn from?
Yeah, there's one called Coinburu. I believe he's...
Coin what?
Coinburu.
Coinburu.
Buru, I can't pronounce this word. So
Coinburu.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay. Something like this, yeah. So he's really good. He posts like daily videos about this stuff.
Okay.
And it's a great resource, yeah.
So you go to him. Your YouTube channel is called Crypto Jack?
Yep.
And so what type of content are you producing to educate people every day?
I produce mainly like trading and stuff like this and market analysis and stuff like this. He produces more like general news and stuff like and upcoming things and stuff like that. I'm more like in the charts looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, telling like my audience like which way I think it potentially could go. I update some things about the news as well, like very large things, but mainly it's technical analysis.
Okay, so essentially, if I started consuming all of your content and I had some money, with a Binance account that was invested,
Yep.
you would be teaching me what to look for to make my trading decisions.
Yeah, effectively, but I'm just telling you what I'm doing, and then.
I know you have to be careful.
Yeah,
how you
it's
put
not
it.
technically
you can't give
fine.
advice
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, I get
I'm just broadcasting what I'm doing, and if you want to follow it, that's no
Because
no
the last
problem.
thing you want is anyone going,
Of course,
you told me to invest in this.
But they all tell you when they do well.
Have you ever had people come back when you
Yeah. We see people in the comments saying like, "Oh, thank you, I invested in this and I made so much money," or "I followed one of your trades and I made X amount of thousands."
What about the flip side?
Yeah, of course, because I post like when I make a loss and stuff, when I buy some, I post about that as well. I don't just only post about my wins because that's not real life. When you have 3 or 4 wins, of course, there's 1 or 2 like losses as well. That's just how it is. It's just in the long term and overall, if you're winning more than you're losing, then I think you're pretty solid.
I was with Stephen Bartlett, as you saw on stage the other day, and when I was chatting to him about it, he said something to me, and you've said exactly the same thing. He said all his friends were asking about NFTs. And so he's like, look, he sent them the link, open an account, take $500 and buy one.
Yep.
Because until you do that, nothing matters.
Nope.
Ignore the whole subject. You literally have to go through that process of doing it so you understand what's involved. And I believe the same goes with buying any cryptocurrency as well.
Yep.
Open an account. Now, there are some accounts that are more kind of user-friendly than others. Mm-hmm. I know that, for example, eToro doesn't actually buy the actual asset.
It's expensive fees, though, very expensive fees.
Okay. And then you've got Binance, which can be, to the naked eye of an uneducated investor, somewhat confusing.
Oh, no, it's definitely confusing. I think Coinbase is by far the easiest one.
Coinbase is easier. And then you've got crypto.com as well.
Yeah, this is very good. They also have a Visa card as well. So if you make a lot of money in crypto or something, you can actually have one. You can spend your crypto anywhere you could spend with a Visa card or MasterCard. But yeah, definitely the best one is Coinbase. You can log on there, put your card details in and buy $1 or 10 or 100 or $100,000 worth of crypto in just a few minutes. The fees are higher than something like Binance. However, the simplicity and the first time you get in there, it's much easier to do.
Okay, let's talk about fees.
Yep.
So traditionally, when you buy and sell investments that are non-digital, there'll be a spread, a bit of a spread. Okay, same as when you buy currency, and that spread can be between 2 and 5% typically. Yeah, so that's where the fees are.
Yep.
When you're buying cryptos, you don't have that spread.
No.
So you don't have that spread there. So where are the fees?
The fees it's called a maker and taker fee. So basically there's a fee when you buy and there's a fee when you sell. It's extremely low. It's like 0.025 or something like this. And it depends what kind of exchange you're on. If you're on a spot exchange or derivatives exchange, it really depends. I can't tell you one fee that all the platforms have because every platform has different fees for different things. But if you, for example, buy $100 worth of Bitcoin on Coinbase, maybe you'll pay like $5 or $6 fee. Whereas if you buy it on Binance, you'll pay less. You'll probably pay $1 or $2. However, you have to, I think Binance have a fiat on-ramp, but it's just Coinbase, especially from the UK, Coinbase is extremely easy to use. And if you're just buying $100 and it's your first time, you don't really mind if you pay $5 or $6 fee. It's just kind of the gateway to crypto in that kind of sense. But anyone...
Your initiation.
Yeah, of course, initiation fee. But anyone, they're putting serious money in, they wouldn't probably do that on Coinbase. They would either do a OTC deal over the counter if it's like millions and millions of dollars, so it doesn't affect the market, or they would just go onto Binance and do it like that.
So if they wanted to do an OTC deal, where would they do that?
There's many places in Dubai. For example, if I want to sell crypto, sometimes I'll do that. And you, not always if it's millions of dollars, but most these big institutions that you see the buying like $100 million of Bitcoin, they don't just log on to Binance and wire them 100 million and buy it. It will be an over-the-counter, like behind closed doors kind of deal. So it doesn't affect the market, specifically with altcoins as well. Because if you buy like $10 million worth of Bitcoin, the price may go up a little bit. It's not going to affect it so much. 100 million, yeah, it's probably going to push it up a good few percent. Whereas an altcoin, if you buy 50 or 100 million of that, depending on the market cap, it could just absolutely shoot it up and then it would dump right back down. So it doesn't look natural and organic, so they tend to do this behind closed doors. So maybe the founders or someone who has a lot of that particular asset or coin, they will agree like a private deal for it.
Okay, got it. Now, Crypto.com sponsored the Staples Arena with a $700 million 10-year
Crazy
deal. They're the title sponsor for Formula One, which is again hundreds of millions of dollars. They've been in business 4 years. Is all of their revenue from fees?
A lot of it will be from fees,
Well, how much money must they have under management?
At Crypto.com, it's a little bit like Coinbase a little bit. So they charge slightly higher fees maybe than something like Binance. However, they have a lot of different things. They have like their Visa card, they have staking, they have their own native coin as well. So they made probably hundreds of millions, if not billions, from their native coin as well. So they have a lot of different revenue streams. And of course, they're like one of the most popular exchanges now, especially for newcomers, for example. It's so easy to go and make yourself a Crypto.com account, and you can just buy crypto on there. You can get a little Visa card, which I've got, and spend it.
Yeah, I've seen the Visa card. So, and then they're going to allow you to buy NFTs as well through there?
I don't think now you can, but maybe in the future, of course, like most companies will adapt that as well,
Wow, it's such a fascinating world.
Oh yeah, it's ever changing as well.
Yeah. What are the typical questions that the average man on the street asks you? You must be asked the same questions.
What thing to buy? It's always what do I buy to make money? What do I buy to get rich?
So everybody wants
it's always the same thing.
And then they look back on the history of something like Solana and see its growth, and they're like, well, how do I find that one? The next one of those.
I know. Yeah, they come up to me and they want me to like shake a ball and be like, oh, Cardano, buy that. Like it doesn't work like that. Like everything that you want to buy, maybe you see someone that bought and had a couple of 1,000% gains. Behind the scenes, they were probably researching for months, or if they got lucky, their friend told them about it and they just invested in it. But I've been told by coins by friends, this is the next thing, buy it. I bought it, and just like 3 months ago, I lost $400,000 buying it. So it happens on the bad side, the flip side as well. It's just that hopefully you can have more wins than losses. So just because someone tells you something to buy, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go to the moon and stuff like that.
How much money have you made out of cryptocurrencies?
I'm just going to say over $10 million.
Over $10 million?
Yeah, I'll keep it
with
at
a starting point of 20,000?
Yep.
Over how long?
Actually, really over the course of about 2 years, because I didn't really make much money for the first year and a half, kind of maybe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, but nothing like life-changing.
And did you take any of your $10 million plus and put it into traditional assets? Yeah,
I have around, not a crazy amount, around 100K in like traditional, I think, index funds, stuff like that. I bought a villa and an apartment. I have 2 cars, which are worth around $1 million, and some watches. I bought some gold, some silver.
Okay, so you bought some traditional.
Yeah, I've got some stuff as well, but still.
Cars go down in value.
No, not mine. So previously I had a Lamborghini Huracan, which I bought for 550,000 dirhams. I drove it for a year and I sold it for 610,000 dirhams. So I made 60,000 dirhams.
Because of second-hand car prices.
Of course.
Yeah, this is an unusual time.
Yeah, and if you're buying like an exotic car, in Dubai, you don't necessarily lose money on it. So like for example, I have a G-Class, a G63. I bought this for 800,000 dirhams, but now because you can't buy them, they're worth 1 million dirhams. So I've made like 40, 50,000 pounds driving it for a year. So I'm always like try to be very smart. I would never just go to a showroom and buy a brand new car that I know will depreciate 30, 40% in the next year. I wouldn't do that. I always try to be somewhat smart with my money. And if I wanted to liquidate my cars and sell them, I could go and sell them right now and get the cash in probably an hour.
And did you buy the property cash? Or did you get mortgages?
Yeah, no, it's not a mortgage. So it's like a 4-year payment plan.
Off and off plan type.
Yeah. So there's no banks involved. You just make the payments.
Okay.
So I bought a townhouse and an apartment.
Okay. How old are you?
28.
How many other people at 28 do you think are worth $10 million plus?
That I know a lot, but in the crypto universe, yeah, a lot. But in traditional kind of senses, not so many. And compared to like my friends and stuff back home where I came from, no, even close.
Do you think, and I've seen some of you guys hanging together, okay? Yeah, physically I've seen, but also on socials. Do you think, and again, this is not a leading question, it's just an honest question. Do you think you have a responsibility to not influence people too much into thinking they can get rich quick by living that life, some people would say? Because be honest, okay, you got your beautiful missus, you got your lovely holidays that you're on, your nice cars. All of you guys are in a kind of like, in that same kind of, well, call it a bubble. That kind of like we're successful world. Yeah. Which young people will look at that and go, I want to be like him.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I want to be like Jack. Right, what have I got to do? What did Jack do? What have I got to do? Is there a part of you that has some concern or worries, or is careful to, just be sensitive to that situation?
Of course. Oh, definitely. I think that probably 99% of people that want to achieve something like me, they will fail. It's just how it is. If you look at most new businesses, like most people fail when they do it. It's just how it is. Whether the person doesn't put enough effort in, they invest at the wrong time. There's like thousands of different reasons why they can fail. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's not. It's just how it's set up. The markets and the world is set up to take your money. That's just how it is. It's just how it's set up. So I think I do have a responsibility. That's why I tell people not to just put everything in. I always try and tell them, just put a little bit in. You don't have to, for example, if someone has $5,000 and they want to invest it to have a life like me, then putting this $5,000, it's not going to get them a life like I or my friends have in the next 6 months or year. It's just not going to happen. So it's much better that you are a lot more risk cautious and you put a little bit in, and over time, as you understand it, put much more money in. But of course, it's a lot of people see us and they say like, I want to have a life like you. I want to have as much money as you. But I want to say like, I'm honestly no happier now than I was 4 or 5 years ago when I lived in a shared apartment in America when I was at school. Like in fact, maybe I was happier then a little bit. Like really, I got maybe like $600 a month to live on for like excluding my rent, like food and stuff. And I would have a great time. I would spend like $500 of those dollars in the first week, and then the next 3 weeks I would live on like noodles and stuff like that. And I had such a good time. Like I was even happier then than I am now. So,
but what's interesting about that is that you can acknowledge that, but don't forget, what you just said at the beginning of the conversation about being able to retire your dad.
Yeah, of course.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
It really is.
One thing I want to say is when you see people buying like a new fancy car or a new fancy watch or a new fancy house, you have to understand that once you bought this, it becomes the new norm. So, like say for example, I recently bought a Ferrari like 2 months ago. It was, I think, $400,000 or $500,000, and I was excited to get it. But after a week, I was just like, nah, like whatever.
It's a car.
it doesn't matter. It's no different. And maybe in a year or two time, I'll buy another Lamborghini or a Bugatti or whatever it may be. And like for a week, it's amazing, and then it just becomes the normal. It just becomes like my first car was a Renault Clio, like a 2-door, and it just becomes like that. Like if someone driving a Renault Clio was to then get an Audi sports car, they have the same feeling as I have. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a Lamborghini or Ferrari, but the feeling is still the same. You're getting a new car, you're excited to get it, and after probably a couple of months, that new car feeling or new house feeling or new watch feeling, it wears off.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, it just multiplied, but it doesn't make you, I'm not significantly more happy getting a Ferrari than someone is significantly as happy getting a new Audi. It's the same feeling.
Tell me, do you think about charity?
Yep.
Do you get involved in charity?
Yeah. So my friend Chris, he's actually helping build schools all around the world, and I've donated around $10,000 to $20,000 for that over the past few months. Okay. So we built a school in Mexico. There's a school in future schools in Thailand as well, and we're hoping to build many more around the world. So yeah, definitely I do.
So you're not only making money, you're trying to do good things.
Yeah, of course I try to help. I try to help as well.
I'm trying to find holes. I'm trying to dig holes. I'm trying to find parts of you, okay, that people can identify with so that they can point a finger.
Oh,
but you're not.
I'm sure there's some
you
stuff.
come across as a decent human being. You were the one that put the time, the effort in, and you took the risk, and you've benefited from the reward. You're making sure that you don't tell people to all follow you and do exactly the same as you. You're telling people that you're not an advisor. This is what you've done, and you're telling people to be very careful.
They should be, yeah.
You're not talking about stuff you don't understand. And to me, that ticks all the boxes of credibility.
Of course, nobody is perfect. There's probably a million things I have wrong with me. Nobody is perfect. But I just try to be like an all-round good kind of person. I don't want someone to sit there and say, like, I sold my house and put it all into this coin you said, and now I'm homeless and my wife's mad at me, and it's just not...
It's 28 years old. It's 28 years old. It's pretty rounded, isn't it?
There's many people like me, though, in crypto. Many people. Like, yeah.
When you were a kid at school, were you
I was almost like a businessman. I was selling like Coke and candies and stuff to people.
You were selling drugs at school?
No, Diet Coke.
Oh, Diet Coke. That's good. Wow.
Yeah, that's how I'm so rich. No, I'm joking.
Okay, so you were the tuck shop?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Where did you go to school?
In Clitheroe.
In Clitheroe, okay. Yeah. And so you were always looking for opportunities to make money?
Yep, and throughout my... So a funny thing about me is a lot of my friends who do YouTube and stuff, this was their first ever business. For me, I probably had 10 businesses that have failed before I had this YouTube business. Uh-huh. So I've had 3 other YouTube channels before this one. Uh-huh. I probably had 6 or 7 or 8 different businesses that mostly had some part of success, but in the long term they failed.
Epic.
So it's definitely not my first rodeo, so to speak. Mm. So I just think
you have to remember that. I have to remember that I'm 51 now, and when I was 28, I'd been through these steps and done a lot of stuff that you'd done.
If you just don't give up, eventually you will succeed.
Of course, yeah.
Like it's just you have to succeed at something. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an industry you like or you don't like or whatever it is. You have to succeed at some point. If you give it everything, you will succeed.
Okay, last things. What's your prediction for Ethereum this year?
Ethereum. So now we're at around $2,500 as we're filming this, give or take. The end of the year, it really depends on Bitcoin. That's the thing. So
let's give me a prediction on Bitcoin this year.
So I think at least I said a few days ago on stage when I was speaking around the bullish target is around $130,000 in my opinion. Of course, it could not go to that very easily. We could see sideways action because we're kind of in a little bit of a bear market right now. So we could see sideways action. We could maybe go up to like 50 or 60K, back down to 30K and just kind of ping in between these two ranges. But if we really see some bullish traction, we could see over $100,000 this year. Most people were saying that last year, including me, myself as well. Mm-hmm. However, crypto can kind of take its time. And when I say these predictions, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up to $130,000 and then stay there. This just means it could like wick up there and then come back down like 20-30%, but at least we may hit that target. For Ethereum, we're around 2,500. I think Ethereum could easily be over $10,000, easily. In the all-time high, it was around $5,000, just not even so long ago, a few months ago, like 3-4 months ago, it was $5,000. Now we've retraced around 50% at $2,500. And I think just look at the growth of the metaverse and NFTs and Web3, and a lot of this stuff is on the Ethereum blockchain. So of course, there's so much more growth and users than there were last year this time or 6 months ago, and the price was at all-time high. And now we're currently sitting at like 50% discount, and we've got so many more users, so much more traction, so much more development, and I think definitely the price could be over $10,000.
And your mates that have all made a success of the crypto space, how many times or how often, or is it normal for them to leverage?
Trade with leverage? Yeah, they do, but the thing is you have to be very careful. Like trading with leverage is extremely risky, risky. And starting out, until you know how to trade on spot without leverage, I would not even touch something with leverage, because you can lose money. Like I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in trades with leverage. It's very easy to lose money. Of course, on the flip side, it's very easy to make the money, but also as fast as you make it, you can lose it. That's the difficult thing. So I would really get an understanding of the spot market, how to trade without any leverage. So basically, whatever the money you have, that's the money you're trading with. And then you could maybe slowly get into leverage by using like a 2x, so it's multiplying your money by 2. So if you have $10,000, then you can trade with effectively $20,000, so to speak. So I would slowly do that, and I would...
What's the maximum you can leverage then?
Oh, you can have like 100x.
100x?
Easily, and there's platforms that do 250x.
So the platform did 250x, and so if you've got $10,000, it's 250x, it's $250,000.
No.
That's 2.5 million.
Yeah,
2.5 million.
Yeah.
And then if it goes wrong, you lose your 10,000.
Yeah, but the liquidation price means the price that if it hits this level, if the price goes down, if you're longing, if the price goes down, then you'll lose all of your funds. So the larger the leverage, the smaller the liquidation gap. So if you're trading with a 2x, the liquidation price might be there. But as you increase the leverage, the liquidation price comes up. So sometimes you can trade and the price can go down like $100 and you can lose everything. So it's very risky. I personally never trade with more than about a 10x.
Interesting.
But
the people that have got the what do they say in that movie? Brass balls. The people.
Oh yeah, you need some strong balls to trade with leverage because it's nerve-wracking. But many people trade with kind of like 20, 30, 40x. But if they lose that 50 or 100k, their life doesn't change. Like that's just the risk appetite they have.
We've got some questions from my audience. Let's see if we can get those. Questions haven't been answered yet. Someone in my audience said, your website is fascinating. Could you tell us more about Bitcoin Blueprint?
Yep. So
tell us about that. Okay.
It's basically just a course. I started it in 2017, and it just helps people get an education, first of all, about crypto, and then it goes into a little bit about trading as well. So I have like my manager called Ben, and he helps all the students. He has like one-on-one mentorships with them and stuff like that, and helps them kind of grow their crypto portfolio. I'm actually in the process of filming new videos for that because the course, the videos are around nearly a year old now, so crypto changes extremely fast. So now I'm updating that with new videos. But
it's basically a course I can go pay for the course. How much course cost?
But there's different ones between $500 to $1,000. But I want to say you don't have to buy the course. You can get all the information. That's the thing about courses. All the information in courses, it's available free out there. You don't have to buy it. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to sit here and say, buy my course, because maybe someone's not in the situation that they can afford to buy the course, and they think buying the course will be their key to success. It's not. It's definitely not. So just because you buy this course doesn't mean you're going to make money. A lot of the information out there, not all of it, but a lot of it you can find on YouTube for free, and that's where I would start.
Okay. Again, these are questions from my audience. Okay. Why do you believe it's important to buy in the dips, and what are some of the benefits in buying when the lows happen?
Yeah, of course it's valuable to buy in the dips. The only thing is you don't want to buy in the dip and then it keeps dipping. That's the only issue.
Double dip.
Yeah, double dip, yeah. So it's always good to buy the dips because you never want to buy when the price is going up, because usually when the price is going up, there will be a correction at some point, and you always want to buy when others are fearful.
Okay, makes sense. You believe that Bitcoin gives you your time back?
Well, money is time. Time is money. So effectively, yes.
That's where that's come from. Okay, excellent stuff. I'm so glad that I've got someone here sitting at 28 years old saying, my dad got me into crypto. That you've got no idea nice. How nice that makes me feel.
It's nice, yeah.
I mean, it's lovely that it happened, period. Course. But a young guy, okay, because most dads, most dads
go to school and
what?
Yeah.
No, pay the mortgage off.
Yeah,
that's your duty.
Course,
get yourself a sensible job. For your dad to have the foresight to see something before you did. I mean, granted, you went balls out with your 20 grand.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing to do. But your dad coming to you with an investment opportunity. I mean.
Oh yeah.
I just try and think about my dad.
Yeah. Would he not have done something like that?
My dad, if we talked about that kind of stuff with my dad's the kind of guy that would not understand it at all. He'd do a little bit of research, okay, and he'd be his own worst enemy because he'd probably put $5,000 in or something, not a lot of money, and if he made 10% over the course of 3 months, no, he'd just go heavy.
Oh yeah.
He'd get addicted to it.
Good on him.
Because all of a sudden he'd go, opportunity.
Yeah, good on him.
And it's a little bit like. That's why he likes betting on the dogs and the horses.
Yeah.
The things about opportunity.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And how can I find a shortcut to getting rich quick?
Oh, so
the worst thing for him would be to put a few grand into it, make 10% in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he'd probably have no pension left after a while.
Yeah, of course.
there's a lot of emotional decisions that are made by people
yeah.
with crypto. I think a lot of emotional decisions made because everyone's wanting that golden opportunity.
You have to take the emotion out of it because it's not a rational way to invest. Of course, in any market, it's not a rational way to invest emotion, and that's why so many people buy. They message me and say like, I bought Bitcoin at like 66K or 68K, and that's because they just emotionally like FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, and they just or they're just buying when it's going crazy because they think like it's gone from 40K to 70K in just a few months. Like, what if I buy now? It goes to 100K, and they're trying to buy like right here when it's going up, and it's just not the right time to buy. You want to buy when everyone's thinking like, geez, is it over? Like, is this thing going to zero? That's when the best time is to buy.
What's Warren Buffett say? Be fearful when everyone's...
And greedy when everyone's... Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
fearful.
Yeah, that's the best advice there is out there. Like during, like last year during the pandemic when all the lockdowns were happening, Bitcoin, or the year before, Bitcoin was like $3,000, $4,000. And this was like the best opportunity to buy. And all the stocks and everything were at incredibly low prices as well. And this was because everyone was so scared, they're taking their money out. And of course, hindsight is so easy to say, like, just buy there. You can't, it's not the same to say it's sitting here now than back then. But if you can just buy when everyone is like extremely fearful, it's great. It's not always the case. For example, if a company announces that they're in liquidation, maybe it's not, and people are fearful, maybe then it's not the right time to apply this. However, with crypto and stuff like that, it's a great time.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Really
I hope people can learn some stuff about it.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
So hopefully you enjoyed learning more about crypto. If you're a novice in that space, just like I am, really, Jack gave us a great insight of what's going on right now. And also, he's a really normal guy, isn't he? There's no ego. He's just a regular guy that worked out how it would work, how he could make money, and then to take $20,000 and take that gamble and turn it into over $10 million is quite remarkable. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode as much as I've enjoyed making it. If you're listening to this on iTunes, do me a favour and leave me a 5-star rating. I know you don't want to, I know you've got other things to do, but I would really like you to. And at any other podcasting platform, leave us some love. Tell me what I'm doing right, tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me who you want me to interview, and I'll surely make that happen. I'll see you on the next episode.